These hardliners were opposed in the Army and the FLN by less dialogue we stays. These hardliners were opposed in the Army and the FLN by less dialogue we stays. These hardliners were opposed in the Army and the FLN by less dialogue we stays. These hardliners were opposed in the Army and the FLN by less dialogue we stays. These hardliners were opposed in the Army and the FLN by less dialogue we stays. These hardliners were opposed in the Army and the FLN by less dialogue we stays. These hardliners were opposed in the Army and the FLN by less dialogue we stays. These hardliners were opposed in the Army and the FLN by less dialogue we stays.